Oops, somebody left because I was recording, maybe. I didn't want that. No. Anyway, that was not my aim, to kick someone off because in order to record. Okay, and we don't need somebody else as well. No, that's not what. Oh no, she's coming again. Anyway, maybe it's connection problems. Your turn. Let's go with Pooja.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Pooja Shakya. I'm based here in Kathmandu, Nepal. And currently I'm engaged or involved in practical action, consulting arm of practical action. And I've been working in a 4-year DFID funded, FCDO funded project in Landslide Evo as an impact lead. And I've been working in early warning system for floods. And now we are piloting this landslide early warning system for landslides as well. So, okay, I would like to keep it this as for
Brief,
now.
yes, okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks.
Marcos, I see you. Your camera is on.
Okay, I'm Marcos from Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. I'm in geotechnical engineering. I'm very interested in landslides, mainly in early warning systems, how to define rainfall thresholds, and I have a special focus on education for not only about the early warning system, but landslides disasters in general. And I'm focused on education in schools and museums. Okay, I think it's okay.
Thank you for that. Then the camera that I see on, Florian, your turn. Just a brief introduction around. That's what we're having.
Now you can hear me, I hope.
Now, yes.
Yes. Okay, so my name is Florian Albrecht from the University of Salzburg in Austria. Our Risk, Hazard and Climate Lab is part of the Geoinformatics department of the university, and we focus on mapping landslides with Earth observation data. And I also am involved in some EU-funded STARS Alliance projects about teaching and skills development, where we use e-learning concepts to teach about our methods. And we also look in some other projects into susceptibility modeling as a part of that can be part of early warning systems. So we try to approach the early warning systems as well, and so I'm curious to hear what's happening in this working group.
Okay, thank you. Then I see Ellen with the video on.
Hello, my name is Helen Diaz. I'm from the University of São Paulo. I'm currently working with inventory of landslides. It's my first time in this group, so nice to meet you all.
Thank you for being here. Then I see Isabella, no video, but if you can talk or even show yourself, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
So I'm Isabella. I'm from University of São Paulo. I'm also a PhD student. I don't have too much to say, but yeah, I'm here to collaborate. And yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And also we have 3 people from Brazil in the group. And okay, and then Nejan already introduced herself before the recording. And Nguyen, I don't know if you can talk, but if you can. Okay, you wrote it in the chat, but you can talk, please.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Nguyễn Quốc Định. Just call me Định. The last name is the given name. I'm from the Vietnam Institute for Geoscience and Mineral Resources. In my group, we have 15 scientists. I'm the head of the department, and we are responsible for the landslide inventory, and also landslide early warning system in Vietnam. At the moment, we have been installed one early warning system for debris flow landslide, and the other one is for landslide. And we would like to share and learn experience from you. And it's also the first time I take part in the group, and hopefully within the group we work together and learn from each other. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the introduction is over. So let me just say that from my perspective, this group is meant to. Oh, let's go to the maybe I do this brief talk, very brief talk, but by going back to my presentation, and this is the one. So if I share my screen, okay, after we introduce ourselves, I want to remind you that the objective of the working group, as written in the declaration, also you can find it on the website, is the promotion and the transfer of skills and knowledge related to many different aspects of various elements of landslide early warning systems. The idea is that within this group, we could do that by designing some educational products, generally speaking, educational products that can be used as learning experiences over the internet. For instance, it could be, is it written here, short courses, but we don't have to go to short courses thinking about those already. Maybe it could be too difficult at the very beginning of the activities of this group, but it could be some digital leaflets, some single sheets like the experiment that we did in the May Day. It could be anything we want. No, we could discuss about e-learning products, but also in my intention, it's good if few of us get together to produce something. And then maybe from the first pilot experiences, new things may come, and then maybe we can involve more people and also maybe have higher ambitions. At the beginning, I would start small by producing something. I can tell you that, of course, we have not been very active up to now, but we did something in preparation, essentially in preparation for the May Day 2021. And indeed, at the beginning of the year, we decided to host 2 sessions during the May Day. I'm not sure if some of you, I'm sure that not all of you have seen or participated to both sessions, but maybe some of you have. If you missed any of the sessions, as I said to you also with the email, I remember that there is a playlist, so you can go back and watch it whenever you want, whenever you have time, just to see what we've been doing in the past. And indeed, those 2 sessions were quite different because in the first one, we had presentations. Today, Graziella Devoli is here, and she was one of the presenters of the first session. A brief discussion afterwards. Marcos also presented in that session. So we have 2 of them here. And then we had some little discussion at the end. But indeed, the presentations were interesting, and they were tackling different educational experiences. I can say that I went back and watched again those recordings recently just because I was preparing for this meeting. And indeed, something that I missed live when I was there, very concentrated on coordinating and sharing the session. I got it back now that I watched it again. And then we did this other cooperative project session where we tried to devise a single slide fact sheet about a specific landslide early warning system, the Hong Kong one. And also here, we didn't reach, of course, during the time that we had, the 1 hour, 50 minutes that we had in our session, we couldn't close the project. We couldn't close the single slide fact sheet. But indeed, something came out. And I would indeed start from this experience, for instance, also for the activities that we want to plan in the future. To do next is then, open for discussion. So I don't have any other specific thing to present, but I want to take the chance that I'm here sharing my screen to also remind you that if we go to well, besides the fact that you can find on YouTube the playlist, and if you go to the web on our website and you go to Mayday 2021, you have the full playlist with videos. But I want to tell you also that we are sharing a Google Drive. At the moment, there isn't much there. For instance, there are the minutes, not the minutes indeed, but the presentation of last meeting, the meeting that we had before the May Day. And so after the meeting today, I will upload again the slides also here for our meeting. If you go there, you will see also that besides what I've been presenting in that, there is the link to the share directory that I can send to you again, of course, maybe at the end of this meeting. And then at the beginning of this working group, when I was trying to engage you and when I was trying to think about what to do together, I sent a couple of links to shared documents where I asked you what are your skills and what are useful links that you can send to the other group members to start reading something or maybe learning from something that has already been done. So I can also refer you to the fact that we have these open documents here. Not many of you or of us actually filled this one with the skills. Some of at the beginning of the year, again, some of you sent some links about potential useful resources. But I don't want to go back to all of that by being bureaucratic on this and sending you again the links and let's start. Indeed, I would start from discussing live with the people that are here today. So let me go back now. Here I am with you, watching you, to decide together where to go next. I'm not expecting many people to actively contribute to this working group, whereas I'm expecting that many people can be interested in seeing what we will be doing and what we are doing, and also in generally speaking, interacting in order to learn. But that's the aim of the whole network. So as a network, we will be doing activities with Graziella. She's in the executive committee with me. We will discuss at the end of this week, thinking about what to do next year. For instance, maybe planning a real meeting of the consortium of the network. But besides these more general issues, my questions for you now, the 9 of us that are here today, are: what would you like to see this working group doing? So specifically, and second, more specific question: what would you personally want to do here? So you can even say nothing, just observing, because some of you are also observers. No, they are tagged as observers. But what would you like to see maybe as observers, and what would you like to do if you want to engage personally on producing some material? In my mind, we should try to produce some, as I wrote, some artifacts, something relatively in a short time, so that also that will boost our morale, and maybe we will get into more difficult projects afterwards. But let's try to do something in a short time. And in my mind, in a short time, we can do, I can already say it here, we can do the fact sheets continuing with and closing that experiment that started in May with the May Day, and maybe doing the same thing for another couple of at least one other landside early warning system, not only the Hong Kong one, but also another one. So I would shoot for 2 fact sheets for 2 different landside early warning systems. I already have in my mind also a proposal as a second early warning system to address. And then if some of you have other ideas about specific activities that we could engage, I'm here to listen. Final thing, and then I leave the floor to whoever wants to say something. With Graziella, besides her presentation in the May Day about a role game that she has been developing and playing with others at EGU and other venues, there is some ongoing activity about the role games and how to maybe digitalize some that experience in order to bring that role game in the digital world. But I see that as something that it's tough to do in a short time. So it's a middle term project rather than a short term project. I stop and I'm listening to whoever wants to say something.
Michele, maybe I can say a few words. For short term, maybe we can think about the audience. Do we aim for maybe high school students or the general public or the administrators, government officials or something? So identify the audience is one item that came to my mind. Because, for example, I wish in our country, government officials would learn examples of early warning systems in the world. What should be in it, how it can be started, etc. Some information session, information document or video about early warning sessions for government officials, for example. Either a brochure document or a video could be useful, but there can be other items for other age groups or different audiences. That came to my mind.
Very good point. It's important to address our audience. I can say something, but I want to leave the others some space for other thoughts, and then maybe I comment.
If I can, yeah, I have the same idea than Nejan, because beside extern, maybe an audience could be the same LandAware, because we have different, so sometimes we could do some exercise within the group in order to have the lift up our knowledge, because we have, for example, young people or people that are more experienced than others. So also a possible audience could be also internally in the group or internally in the LandAware. Another thing that I was thinking when we did the May Day together with Isabella and Paulo from Brazil, one, because they have the issue which question to address when they create this interview with the people. And so also this could be interesting to have a kind of example of interview if you are addressing people that work with operational and so, for example, a list of possible questions. So we have to think both, and this was, of course, in that case, I tried to help Isabella, and but yeah, to create some question that could be useful to address to people working with operational. This could be another idea, but of course we have to think if we want to do if we could combine exercise internally in the group to lift up a little bit the knowledge, and also prepare product that are for external one, and of course external one we have a lot of different audience.
When you're thinking about internal, are you thinking about LandAware members in general or the group?
Both.
No, because when you were saying at the beginning, I was I took also some notes. I thought about LandAware members, so the general community. And then this is indeed a very good idea. Then now I understood, maybe you're also saying inside our own working group. That is also, of course, we are here. It's part of the community, and some
yeah,
of
because the exercise that we did with Hong Kong, maybe some of us we had experience already from that. We had that kind of experience. We knew what put in this, but for other it was new. And so I think there are different background, and so it could be useful to have from time to time some simple exercise. So yeah.
Okay.
Internally, I think first
yeah.
Internally in the group, and maybe in the LandAware if there are other group that are interested to join us or something like that.
Okay. Any other comment?
Maybe I can say a few words.
Please.
From Nepalese context, like in Nepal, this landslide early warning system is at the very early stage. Like even the government has not initiated any kind of system, or I would say that there's no any early warning system in place in the country. And through our project and through various other projects, people or the researchers, different organizations are trying to establish the early warning system for landslides. So from this group, I think it would be good if we could, have some kind of, examples that could be replicated in countries like us. Very mountainous countries. You may know about Nepal. Geologically also, it's very, vulnerable to these kind of landslides and also for other hazards. So basically, from my perspective and from my country's perspective, we would be grateful if we could have some kind of the systems which could be replicated in our country, in Nepalese context. And this kind of knowledge product or any learning document from other countries would be good to see, through this working group.
Let me ask you specifically something. What exactly you have in mind? I phrase the question in this way. If we think about the general, as I said before, the general objective of LandAware is indeed to create connection and increase knowledge by means of the different activities that all different working groups are doing, and sometimes we are doing with some events like the May Day and other events that we may be having. Okay. Now, within that, in some working groups, I'm thinking about working group 1, for instance, some people are working at glossary, some people are trying also to put together a list of existing landslide early warning systems in the world. And of course, there is already many references that are there. But of course, okay, they are there, but people must know that they are there. So there is this sort of activities that we are all collectively doing at different levels with our own personal work as researchers, but also within LandAware. Now, within this working group, when you think about something to give as something that could be useful for instance, as you said, setting up landslide early warning systems in Nepal. What kind of item are you thinking about? Not a scientific article, because those are already.
Yeah, in fact, what I wanted to express is like, I know there are different literatures, different scientific papers that have examples, but for us, like for the non-scientific community who wanted to, like for the government here in Nepal, there may not have the government officials who are basically have that technical, expertise to replicate or to share these ideas. So for those communities, especially in the country, the learning document or some kind of that could be a knowledge document or technical knowledge document as well, where so we can create some examples, and then we can also suggest or recommend for its for scaling up it into the country. So these kind of documents, I'm not referring to any scientific kind of paper at the moment, because I think that these are already available, too. And so I'm thinking of having some examples from this, entire LandAware team as well. Like if there are some early warning systems for landslides in other countries, which could be replicated in the country like Nepal, then why not we bring those learnings and those knowledge through these kind of working groups, and then share that to the stakeholders who are working in establishing early warning system in Nepal. So I think I would mostly target for the government officials here. If I get any kind of document, any kind of learning materials, from the group or from the LandAware team as a whole, then that would be really very helpful for the stakeholders who really want to do something in landslide risk reduction in any
Okay.
country.
Okay, thanks. Any other comment? I'm taking notes.
Okay, I would like to say that, first of all, I think the idea of Puja is very interesting to prepare a simple and concise material to help this kind of places, this kind of stakeholders group. But I hope that we can prepare something to be applied to the general public. I think it's very important. It's a great challenge to prepare some education activities. We know that there are some different initiatives in different parts of the world doing this kind of work, educative activities. But it's not simple, because sometimes we don't know if that activity is working, and we could change our experiences in educative activities and try to plan how to assess the effect of this activity. It's not simple. There are just a few studies about how to assess the educative activities, but it's very difficult. But because we would like to change the mind of the general public. Here in Brazil, we are very worried with the people, poor people who lives in slums, and it's very difficult to change their minds and how to assess the effect of educative activities. And the educative activities is preferable to be developed in schools or in public places or in museums. Then I think that we could think about methodology, and not just one methodology, but a group of different kinds of educative activities, and how to assess these activities in long term.
That's a very relevant issue. It's indeed a very broad research issue, but it's a very relevant issue because I understand you are engaged in such activities, and you've been engaged for a while, and it's difficult at the end of the day to tell, yes, but what was the effect, and was it better that one or the other one? I totally agree with that. I'm not sure that the we have the strength to do it at the moment here in this group, but it's a very relevant issue and we have to think about it. Any other comment?
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so
Florian and then Isabella.
I heard a lot of things about like quite different topics. Like at the beginning, we had the audience. That was one thing where I think, okay, that are the people where we want to present our information to, and we also have we had a very specific example for Nepal where the government officials have a I noticed the audience have different levels of skill already, and we would need to think of what kind of skills do they need for implementing landslide early warning systems, or for in a broader sense for the general public. If I think of the favelas, that's probably more the people. They need to be aware of the risks that they are living in, and maybe how to understand what options do they have or so. So it's on quite different levels what we want to teach into quite different audiences. And if teaching among us is something, I would say it's about how to implement early warning systems and these things. So there are quite a few questions how to do that. In my research area of Earth observation, we had a project which was very much about teaching, and so we identified specific profiles of users of a learning material or of learning courses, and we also collected what's already there in terms of teaching. So with e-learning, I thought, yes, for our global effort of this LandAware, e-learning is the way to go, because it's rather difficult to invite the group to a specific location because it's so much traveling. And so e-learning would be one thing to do it. And thereby it's more about the training actions or the courses that can be presented. So if and I think we don't start from zero there. So I guess that's something what I would expect within this group to see is the start of a list where we can see what people teach about learning early warning landslide early warning systems. And maybe that will develop in the future and will be more structured once we also have clearly identified which audience needs which kind of skills and what kind of matches there towards the learning activities that are possible already.
Thank you for this. Very interesting. Then in the order, Isabella first and then Dean.
I don't know how you are thinking about to operate all these ideas, but well, first of all, I agree with them. But I think it would be helpful if we split the group, one group thinking about internal activities, internal e-learning activities, and another group thinking about external e-learning activities. Because I think it's really important to put the group in the same level, just like Graziella said. And this is one idea to operate this whole thinking that are pop-upping here.
Thank you for your suggestion and comment. Dean.
Yes, yes, I agree with Florian that for the e-learning, we at the first place, we should define the audience who are the material, and what is the material should we provide to the appropriate audience. I think that for the early warning system that we are focusing on, the audience is not so broad, so it's specifically for the technician and experts, so that for me, I think that we can also provide the material for example, landslide inventory by Earth observation data is also good for the disaster management people. And also that in my view that the early warning system itself, theoretically and the practically is not so complicated, but the mechanism for coordination between different stakeholders and the disaster management is very important. For example, from the central government to down to the local government to community. So when, for example, the alarm go off, so that what to do and who doing what is very important at the green situation. So that all of this, I think that I don't know in other countries, but in Vietnam, we should how can I say, draft the regulation and change even in the law and the decree under the laws, so that everybody have to obey in such a critical situation. That is what I would like to contribute. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you also for your comment. Any other? Otherwise, I start saying something in relation to what you all said. I no, there were interesting comments related to different issues, as Florian mentioned. We are moving from one issue to another. That's good anyway, because that's the idea of my discussion, or our discussion today. Then we have to focus on something. Now, let me tell you, the audience is a relevant thing to address, because if we produce something, we have to produce it for someone, and so it's totally relevant. I understand Isabella when she's saying, okay, we could split the group in two, internal versus external. I'm saying, given that it's few of us, it's 9 of us today, but maybe not all of us will have time to engage in something, and maybe some people that are not here are willing to engage. But then we have to think about, in my opinion, what to do next, more pragmatically. Who's doing what? Who's coordinating a specific effort for the next few months, rather than deciding, this is who wants to go there, who wants to go here, and sending an email to everybody. I'm thinking, what are we going to do? But totally, it came out that some activities could be activities that are activities for our community. I would extend the community to the whole LandAware network, because indeed, if I see the mailing list that I have on this working group, it's 100 plus people. Then not many actively participate, and some people maybe they send apologies, but many just neglect the reminders, whatever, and then they don't participate. If instead of going to the 100 people, we go to the 250 that at the moment, it's the same. So I'm saying, let's try to think about activities that could address the community, so we can even interact with some working groups that are already working at specific issues in this period, because I know it. And then we have to think about that we can do outside or for others. But for others who? Indeed, others are, they came out, government officials, people that are there doing, or at least dealing with landslide risk. So for which, it could be important to know about landslide early warning systems and some aspects of landslide early warning systems. And could be, practitioners in general. But anyway, tech people that, even if they don't have a specific technical background in relation to specific scientific issues of landslide early warning systems, they are there dealing with them in some way. We also have to pay attention. It's not that 9 of us or 100 of us or even 250 of us are the experts that know all the answers and then we are going to give the answers to people. No, the network exists because we are all developing this day by day. Graziella, she's a manager. No, she's there managing a national system. I am a researcher and also a professor. So sometimes I teach something, but also, I'm researching new things. And all of us are doing the different things that we're doing as PhD students, but professors, professionals. So let's also be clear on the fact that we can engage in e-learning activities, in transmitting knowledge at a certain level. I like very much what Florian at some point said in relation to this project, that one of the first things to think about, besides addressing specific profiles or defining specific profiles of users, is also to collect what's there. Yeah, indeed, collecting what's there, it's a global effort that we are again trying to put in place also within the larger LandAware community, but we could start also from highlighting teaching material that it's already there. I don't think that there is a lot there yet, but what we are doing with our website also addresses this issue. We are trying to put there all the activities that we do, so if people want to go and watch at one of the sessions that we had during the May Day, already watching at one of the sessions brings to life a series of issues that are important. I am also in my talking now jumping from one thing to the other, but I wanted to comment on all your comments by saying, for instance, that what Marcos is addressing, it's a research question that requires much more than that some artifact in order to be. But then it's a very interesting thing that we, even personally, I'm interested in. We can develop further. And again, also Nepal and how to help government officials in Nepal. It's our small contribution could be to give them material that is interesting, but not solutions, not how to implement a system from A to Z. All that said, I can highlight some of the things that came out, and we could possibly move from there. First of all, collecting what's already there. In what ways it could be done in different ways, but is there anybody who wants to maybe lead an activity that in, let's say, 2 to 3 months, by the end of the year, beginning of next year, it highlights what's there in terms of, we don't have to do what others are already doing, like a reference list of scientific papers, but we could highlight some teaching material, some videos, some cartoons, something that it's there that, in our opinion, is good
But in this case, we have to think to focus only on early warning, because of course, otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. No. If we do that,
will be
that's why I don't see that there is not a lot out there.
No, it's
For
not.
instance, I'm teaching in one activity, the LARM school, since a few years. I have a lecture on landslide early warning systems. So it's a lecture. So I'm doing it. I'm doing it for people that are at the PhD level, and so it's like experts or researchers. But that lecture, I'm doing it for the people that are there. For instance, it's not online yet. So You wouldn't find it as something that it's there yet. Maybe at some point, maybe I'll put it publicly, and then we can say, okay, that's the link to that. But for instance, I don't see that there is a lot out there already, but we can look for that. So that could be one thing. Another thing that came out is we have some stuff that it's the exercise that we've been doing in the May Day, the single sheet exercise, that it's half done, and it could be, as Graziella said, something that would promote interaction among ourselves, but at the same time, I would also try to have a final product that is a final product that we can say it's relevant, as well as the material that is there as a reference for that final product, the single sheet. But then by promoting that single sheet, maybe we can make people aware of the fact that there is a lot of material down there, so that the single fact sheet could be a gateway to more knowledge, more in-depth knowledge. So I would engage in producing those for a couple of LandSlide's early warning systems, and I personally can lead that effort. Other things, concrete things that come to you, and that based on this discussion you would like to go ahead and lead with few of us? For instance, I'm saying the collection of the material. Is there anybody who wants to volunteer to create a small group of 2, 3, 4 people that could look for that and then produce
I
a
can
report
do
at the
that,
end, and then we'll see how to. Okay. So
Yeah,
Isabella,
and I can support.
And you, Pooja?
Yeah, I can support maybe Isabel.
Okay. So I can say that that's already a small group, but then others can join, and then let's devise also a strategy for working in the next few months. Let's say that Isabella and Pooja are coordinating this effort. You can send a message to everybody. If you don't have the mailing list, we can put even something on our blog on the web, so that people can join if they want, or more on a personal level. We can say to some people, why don't you also come on board? Because then you want to work with 3, 4 people, and that's it, so that you can coordinate and try to develop this report at the end with this material that you find. How would you go? It's up to you. So I would leave to you, Isabella and Pooja, to coordinate and decide how to move this forward. So you can write to me afterwards. You can tell now what your ideas are, and then let's say that the meeting today says that the 2 of you are going to engage in this activity, and then after that, I can interact with you, others can interact. Anybody wants to join already among the 9 of us, Isabella and Pooja, so that I will specify it in the minutes of the meeting?
Yeah, I think we can keep in touch. Like, Pooja, can you send me your email, and we can discuss these details, how to work better. And I think we will email you, Michael, to see
any feedback with me, and then from that we move on to the rest and whoever. Okay, that's already something concrete that we are doing.
I'll just write an email in the chat box for the moment. Then maybe also we can discuss. Yeah.
Then
I have a comment. Could be useful for us to write down a kind of list of possible I don't know, possible material or what we have in mind to prepare. Just a kind of checklist in order to because maybe if we write down.
Hold on a second. Are you referring to the material that now Isabella and Pooja are going to look for, or as the working group?
As a group.
Because what do we want to do?
Yeah, for example, okay, now we are thinking, okay, collecting material related to e-learning for LandAware early warning system, something to have a kind of checklist. Because I'm thinking related to what Pooja said at the beginning. For example, in the working group 1, there is the activity to prepare the glossary or to prepare the catalog of existing LandAware early warning system. But I don't know if this type of format will, for example, if we're thinking something that could help Nepalese authority.
No, I wouldn't go all the way there, because otherwise, as you said, because I know that
but just
in
an
working
example,
group 1, there is another initiative. That is an initiative of let's systematize. That's what you said in working group 1. All the different LandAware early warning systems, and let's propose, a catalog of them. That's not something that we should look for. No.
Yes, this because of course there is this activity, but maybe from this catalog. So this is already a product that I don't know if in that format will be useful for the Nepalese or other authority, just to see, okay, look at it. Here there are all this bunch of countries that have already, for example, early warning operation. So this is one thing that exists, but maybe this is not the right format. And so in this case, a format like the one that you create for Hong Kong, a kind of one single sheet.
I see what you're saying, and let me add this. I'm envisioning cooperation with many other working groups, because maybe, we, if we are interested in this topic, we like, to propose something out in formats that are suited for specific users, that have maybe short communication versus not technical communication, whatever. So in that respect, I'm envisioning relating to working group 1 and to the work that you are doing on the glossary, because one activity could be, I don't know if some of you is interested already, one activity could be, let's take some terms of the glossary. So we don't have to wait for the full glossary to be there out, but let's take some of these terms, and these terms, let's communicate them in a way. It could be, by producing a small video that relates to explains the term, because the glossary will be definition of terms. That's a way, and then you go and you look for the term and you have the definition. So the definition is already there. Our job could be how to communicate that definition in a good way. Why don't you produce maybe a small video about it, a small PowerPoint animation, maybe a drawing about it? So if some of you is interested in this activity, glossary terms explained, tell me, and we can start with this activity. No, I would not today. I would not set the field and classify what we have to do in different way. I would start. I would one activity is already started because Isabella and Pooja said let's start, and we will see what comes. Another activity could be this one, the glossary. Is anybody interested in doing that? Graziella, shall we think about it or no? No, it's not something that, because you have too many activities going on, so you have to also think about what you want to do. We have many working groups plus the rest, and anybody in or the other activity that I was mentioning that I am personally interested in pursuing, the fact sheets, single slide fact sheets of 2 warning systems. I would go for Hong Kong, closing Hong Kong, together with Anne. She's not here today, but she's been working at that during May Day, so I would go with that. And I would add to Hong Kong also the Piemonte regional LandAware Warning System, because I already talked with what's his name now? Graziella, help me.
Davide.
Davide Tiranti, because I interviewed him for the May Day. So there is an interview there. And in doing the interview, something came out. Of course, there are also articles. I would try not to also have a single fact sheet about that one. So any of you is interested in joining me in this fact sheets activity? Because I'm there with Anne anyway. So if anybody wants to join the two of us, otherwise we start. No? Okay. So at the moment, we have a small group at the moment coordinated by me for that activity. Another small group by Isabella and Pooja for the collecting teaching material. Florian, can you tell us just a little bit more about your experience in collecting what's there in relation to specific profiles of users and maybe advice or something out of this discussion, maybe?
Certainly. Just let me show you the website to the project that we are currently doing, which is about Earth observation and geographic information, and providing skills about this. And on the, maybe I actually share my screen.
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
that.
Go share.
And I just share the screen on that website. Under resources, we do have a body of knowledge, which actually is close to what the glossary does within the within the LandAware initiative. We also have training material and training actions that we performed during this project. And the training material was designed to a certain part, like as a basis for the training actions, and we came up with a catalog. So what I would expect coming out of such an initiative to collect, either to prepare this glossary terms explained, is something like every time it's one page that tells more about this, or maybe actually points to resources where this is well explained. And so here we had the title, Identification of Heat Islands to Support City Planning. We had learning outcomes for this course. We had the glossary terms related to that, the body of knowledge concepts. And here's a material preview. So that was Reveal.js was used for the slides, but I think sometimes the for the training material production, we actually use this format quite intensively. So, well, to some point, this is so the EO4Geo project has a duration of 4 years, and there were 26 partners involved, and so quite a lot of working hours went into this. So it's quite large compared to what I think we can achieve by
indeed, that I wanted to point out. It's a good comment here, because we are all doing these, so let's say, outside our own daily activities, also outside our own daily research activities. So when you are in a project where you have resources, deliverables, everything is allocated for specific activities, okay, you do it in a certain way. We have to think about this working group as a working group that can do what's feasible, cannot do what's not feasible. No, we don't have to. Otherwise, not otherwise. Alternatively, we can say to ourselves, not today, but maybe in the future, why don't we get together in order to create a project, and then we create a project.
Yes.
LandAware is also here for that purpose, to have cooperation among some of us in specific activities that could be also funded activities. But you get to know it inside LandAware, but then you move outside LandAware somehow for some funded activities that then you bring inside LandAware in terms of resources, output, knowledge. We have to be aware of that. Please, sorry for I wanted to just say that.
Yeah, maybe I just go to the one workshop that was my task in here. It was about optical Earth observation data for landslide risk management, and we discussed, in my case, the materials still under production. We discussed the mapping of there it is, methods of optical Earth observation for landslide mapping and monitoring. We had a discussion about this, and then we had geospatial methods and approaches for modeling landslide susceptibility, and again a discussion about this. And this was a one-day workshop or afternoon workshop for stakeholders from practice. And so this is what we had about training actions, so that there's an agenda, there was a date. There, some of them even presented a recording on the web, and so some general information about a training action that was produced. And I think by collecting either training material or training actions, I think more feasible is here the training material collection, just to say, yes, there's something where we know about it, and that material is online. And for something like this educational level, I would rather say, is it something basic or is it something for experts, advanced? So some kind of those characterizations would help to understand what the material was that we collect within LandAware. So for me to contribute is rather difficult, but if I know what I have to provide, I think it would be possible to identify certain material where I can say, yes, there's something online and it helps you that far. So if there's a structure prepared and people know it's only half an hour of work to put something in there, so that it is online, and the group, the LandAware website, the community is aware of this afterwards, I think the people would actually appreciate to have
Absolutely.
that outlet.
Yeah. So if I understood correctly, you are telling to Isabella and Pooja that after they do some initial work, you could contribute in terms of maybe within a structure, also your knowledge, but also all of us. Of course, I'm saying coordinating is Isabella, Pooja. Then if this thing goes well, then we can open it up not only for dissemination. So as we said, internally for us in the group, because we want to have other people being aware of this teaching material, teaching and training, maybe material and actions, but also because by disseminating, then you get other feedback, and then this thing will hopefully.
So in that way, I think don't consider myself as a contributor, but consider everybody in the community as a possible contributor to that list, to identify those training actions or those learning materials that they have, or where they know of that it's relevant, and so that they don't need much time to really fill in the information that's necessary. And so if that structure is something we can come up, I think, and then we push it back to the community, I think it would be quite interesting to gather feedback and get some content for this fairly quickly. Of course, depending on the activity of your community, but nevertheless, it would be a possible start.
All right. So we are well set on these activities. So I am here, Isabella, as you said, you said okay to Florian to interact whenever you want, and so the two of you are independent in starting and carrying on the activity. Any other different things? Because I will also start with the fact sheets. Any other different things that any of you wants to either start or cooperate with? Many issues came out in the meeting, as usual, interesting things. But now
we need to digest a bit of the
absolutely
idea.
okay.
Yeah.
Then,
but
I would like also let me say it so it stays here recorded, and then if we want to look at ourselves later, we can. That I would go for small educational videos. Somebody was proposing it somewhere while during the exchange of email prior to this meeting, and I would go with something that maybe starting with the fact sheet, starting with the glossary terms explained. That could be a tag, glossary terms explained, and we at the moment nobody is addressing that yet, but I'm also thinking about that. Once we have some initial material that comes out, also the idea of creating small educational videos. No, we have LandAware as the producer, then it's us or whoever will be doing these small educational videos could be something of interest. And in that, I would try to get the knowledge out of the activities of other working groups. I'm thinking with cooperating with you, Graziella, with W Working Group 7, once something will go on there, but also in Working Group 1, because there you're setting the stage about glossary definitions and the systems, but also with Working Group 3, because they're addressing communication to stakeholders. So I'm not thinking that we have to convene joint meeting asking 200 people, let's participate. But I'm thinking that if we are interested, again, 3, 4, 5 people putting together all that's happening, also outside this working group, we could create these artifacts in terms, for instance, of small educational videos. I stopped talking. With the games, I would leave the issue of games to later in the, but it's more complicated to address those. All right, so if there is from you anything else to, otherwise we can conclude the meeting and we can say to ourselves that interaction also, let's say not also, but also mainly interaction, mainly outside these meetings is needed. Mainly is not the right word. No, the interaction outside this meeting is needed. These meetings is needed to really do things. So even if now we only set up these 2 activities, by the end of the year I will convene a new meeting. Yes, okay. But even before that, also talking in person, some of us, we can engage.
Yeah, I would like to help you with more activities, Michael, but I think it's going to be too much. So let's focus on this.
No, absolutely. That's better. I totally agree with you. Let's focus on something specific and then we move from there. Because again, your job, you are a PhD student at the moment, right?
Right.
Isabella. Right. So your main job is doing your PhD research. And then one is a side activity.
Also too much.
No, and also, okay. So there are other activities that we are carrying on also in relation to landscape rewarding systems, but we are doing it, these days I'm very busy with a couple of projects. So anyway, in this community, small community, I think we don't have to to aim for big things at this stage. And I see these meetings as interesting moments to come up with ideas but also then as dates, I suppose, dates when we take some decisions. Today we took a couple of good decisions, in my opinion. So I'm looking forward for the next few months, and then we will see where we are by the end of the year with these basically 2 activities that we started. We planned to develop.
Yeah, maybe Isabella and Pooja, I will share my email with you. I don't have that much time, but in case you have questions in designing this, I can be available.
Thank you. Thank you. It will be
You're welcome.
helpful.
All right. So we can say basically bye to all of us. Is it okay if I put this recording on the web? Because so that if we have to think about something and maybe, we want to go back and look at what we said. So I will do it. Our website, is that okay for all of us?
Okay.
Okay. So I will try to do it as long as it came as a recording, if it's okay. So thank you very much. I can stop the recording now, and I can also say bye to all of you. Thank you for being here. Let's keep in touch. By the end of the year, we will have a new meeting, but I'm not really looking forward to the new meeting, but I'm looking forward to the activities that maybe we can do in the next few months, and then we will discuss about them in the new meeting. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you for the
Thank
meeting.
you all.
Thank
you all.
you. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Marcus. I don't know if I have the recording or not.